This is Cougars Board TerpTalk with Bruce Posner. 60 minutes of Maryland athletics and your phone calls at 410-481-1300. Now, here's Bruce Posner and TerpTalk.
Hey! What a week to be a Terp! Are you kidding me? We got the Quick Lane Bowl on Monday. We got Maryland, Illinois on Tuesday. And then the #1 women's team in the nation, the UConn Huskies, come in to see if they can defeat the undefeated University of Maryland Terrapins. Can it happen? What a 4-day period for the University of Maryland. And in the house with me right now is the man himself, Wayne Viener, who's getting ready to go to Detroit. He's dancing. He can't wait. And Freddy sitting there shaking his head at all of us. Freddy from Boca's in the house today on a special edition of TerpTalk. Before we start, Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy Hanukkah to everybody. Happy holidays to all. It's a great weekend, and what a prelude to a week for the University of Maryland. And despite my ramblings in the last show, I am pumped. I am pumped for the Quick Lane Bowl at 2:30 on Monday because it's another game to watch. But a guy who's maybe even a shade more pumped than me is the maniac himself, Wayne Viener, gone to Detroit. I'm proud of him. Representing Red Turtle Productions and TerpTalk. Post-game show, pre-game show. He'll be among the 4 or 5 press there. All right, for Maryland.
And the 4 or 5 fans.
And the 4 or 5 fans. So
not enough for a minion, I don't think.
Hey, flying
Preview
out,
the game, Wayne.
Well,
Preview the whole event.
The whole event, flying out with Johnny Holiday and Don Marcus from the Sun tomorrow night. Got the game at 2:30 on Monday. And it's the 6-6 Terps, the 6-6 Boston College Eagles. Look, 51.
A clash of the Titans, brother.
Hey, it's not the greatest game in the world, but we got our 15 practices in. And we have a young team, and this is a great benefit to the university. It's helped with the recruiting. Yeah, we have to put on a pretty good showing. Boston College doesn't play the most exciting football. They still have Steve Adazio as the head coach there.
How about Eddie Odio? Does he play for him?
Eddie Odio, who's haunted us on the basketball court, not on the football field.
No Doug Flutie this game, I don't think. No Gerald Phelan.
No. Maryland has a higher national profile than BC. You pointed out neither team travels well. So this isn't going to be the world's most exciting football game. But for the University of Maryland, it's not just about the football game. You have your first-year head coach coming off a bad season last year. We made it this far. There's a great relief that we got the 6th win and we're getting to the bowl game.
All right, let's take a minute. Hats off, round of applause for DJ Durkin. All right, without question, a tremendous
Mason,
first
take your
season.
hat off. I'm sorry.
All right, a tremendous first season for a new coach coming into the situation he did. And I know Freddy explained why it was such a great season for Maryland.
Well, Maryland has been off the radar for a long time now. Last 5 years under our former administration, not very good. Team had trouble beating bad teams, maybe 50-50 against the really bad teams. This year, 6 wins, up from 3 last year. We beat every bad team. We didn't beat good teams, which is we have to take that next step. But this year we were consistent. We beat every bad team. So we're going in the right direction. We have right now the number 11th recruiting class in football, which is amazing considering Maryland's not a football factory and doesn't have a reputation. And most of these kids signed before Durkin's coached his first game. And it's 15 extra days of practice. And I think we're probably going to see 1 or 2 players who haven't played much this year come out of the bowl game and you're saying, wow, wait till next year when this guy gets to play a lot.
Wayne, preview BC a little bit. Tell us what we're looking to this week.
All right, their offense has been struggling. So when you look for BC to move the ball, it's often been on the special teams. Excellent punt returner in Tyler Rouse. He's getting about 14 yards a return. Kickoff returner Miles Willis. He's returned 1 for a touchdown. He's getting 24 yards per return. So you can tell that your offense isn't that great when you focus on specials. On defense, the defensive line's not that bad. The big matchup here is the defensive line for BC against the Maryland offensive line. The Eagles can get some push in the backfield and put some pressure on Hills. It could be the biggest factor. Harold Landry is tied with the Florida State's DeMarcus Walker for the leader in sacks. He leads the nation in forced fumbles. Defense is ranked 8th nationally, and they're going to be challenged to stop Ty Johnson.
Did they have any major upsets this year?
major upsets?
I don't
no.
think so. They
No.
played very poorly against good teams
Right,
this year.
they have been, they're somewhat of a mirror of Maryland.
I was
They
just
beat
going
the
to say it
teams-
sounds familiar.
Right.
But
the-
Freddie, I would say the win over Michigan State was better than a bad team. All right, I'm not sure how much better. I thought that was a pretty good win.
Michigan State was a bad team this year. It's a brand name that had like a lot of recalls this year. It wasn't not an exception.
I agree. Go ahead, Wayne.
Well, I think Boston's college toughest guy, like the best guy they have energy-wise, is the head coach, Steve Adazio. Tim Tebow loves him. These high-energy guys love Steve. He's only got a 23-27 mark at BC. And Maryland had an okay record, and they weren't that great in the ACC. Steve's been 10-22 in the
BC
league.
has something very fascinating. Have you ever been there?
I've been there once. Take a look at colleges a long time ago.
Well, their basketball arena and their football arena coincide. They're adjacent. And you can have a box in the BC basketball arena where you can go to the other side and watch the football game. And that's pretty amazing.
I'm sure that happens a lot when the basketball team plays with the football team at the same time. I mean, it must happen like, what, once every 5,000 years?
No, but it's the same box and it's strange. And I will tell you this much. You talk about a team that draws bad for basketball and football. It's BC.
But they do well for hockey. So the thing to watch here in the game, defensive line of BC, really solid. Offense, the only team, there's 128 teams ranked. BC's offense is ranked 127. Rutgers is ranked 128. So you saw offensively what Rutgers can do against the Maryland defense. So defensively, I think we're okay.
Why is the game pick 'em then?
Because Maryland's not very good.
Yeah, but they should win this game.
Well,
in my
as a
opinion.
Maryland fan, you say that,
But-
and you also know very little about BC and what it's two bad teams playing, and in Maryland, it's a winnable game for Maryland. That's
Look,
all.
Maryland's defense is 82nd. The offense is I think they're in the 70s. BC has an elite unit. The special teams and the defense, if you combine those, are ranked 7th or 8th total. So the reason it's pick 'em is that 7-8 spot there might dominate the Maryland offense. There's a chance that we just get pushed around by the BC defense. So I want to see the offensive line, a great affinity for the offensive line. I want to see him show up. You got a lot of, if you look at Maryland 4-star guys, a lot of them are on the offensive line. With Derwin Gray leading that pack, Prince, some of these big
So
stars.
we
So let's
basically-
go out and push them around a
We
little bit.
basically expect to see our quarterback Perry Hills on the move today.
Running for his life would be a good way to put
But that means he'll be rolling out. And
Right. And if he plays Perry Hills football, which is what he was doing before we went to Penn State and he actually got hurt, we're good. If they get to him and beat him up again, we're not so good.
what do you think is the over-under on how long Perry Hills lasts in this game? A quarter and a half? A half?
Wow, I didn't think about that one, Bruce.
I give him until the middle of the second quarter.
I'll give him the whole half.
We'll give him the whole half?
Give him a first half.
God bless you, Mason.
Because it sounds like he's going to be under duress all game, and that has not worked out well with his myriad of injuries.
Well, he's got some bad shoulders, and you can't throw the ball well if your shoulder's beat up, and he is a more effective runner than passer. So maybe we go back to that, but it's Ty Johnson. On the other note, for the guys that aren't playing, the Lolo Harrison and who else? DJ Turner. The note is they are still in school. They are traveling to the bowl game. They are not allowed to play. These are the two kids with the airsoft gun inside.
Right.
And they will be back for the spring ball if they do what they're supposed to do.
It's the right choice, but you couldn't play him. You can't play him if
No.
kids do stupid things like that.
But-
Speaking of stupid things, we'll get to it later unless you want to get to it now. This Grayson Allen thing, this kid, something is wrong with him. And I'm not saying it because I don't like Duke or whatever, but this kid has problems. I mean, real problems.
The bigger problem, I'm not done bowling yet, but I'm going to take this one. The bigger problem is what happened when he went to the bench. Yeah, he tripped the kid. His complete emotional breakdown on the bench was actually scary to watch. The other part was an illegal play. That was a kid losing his mind on the bench. You don't see that in public very often. You might see it in a divorce court or in a hospital room or somebody.
No,
who's
you
that
see it from a
upset.
5-year-old. A 5-year-old.
Okay,
you know?
I'm saying for a 20-year-old kid to be that upset, you see it in an emergency room or in a divorce court or someplace where you're under severe emotional stress, but not in the middle of a basketball game usually.
What do you
So-
think's the right? What do you think the right suspension is for him? Has it been decided yet?
Does anybody know if there's
It's
been a
Right
indefinite.
now,
match?
it's indefinite suspension, and I would think the next game. I think they have Georgia Tech coming up. They also have another Tech team, Virginia Tech, and then Georgia Tech. I would sit the kid a couple games, and then if he does it again, you got to sit him the rest of the year.
Oh no, if he does it again, he might be off the team. He can't do this again. What is
He's
this?
going to go to the pros next year anyway.
Agree.
Probably.
He should have gone this year. That's his 4th trip or his 3rd
Third
trip?
trip within a calendar year.
It's almost unbelievable. And
Oh, one more, it's a Grand Slam, I guess.
The next big game is January 14th, Louisville and Duke,
He'll be there.
and I believe he will be back for
He'll
Louisville
be
Duke.
suiting up and he'll start.
sad. Anyway, get back to bowling.
So,
Bowling.
My bowling.
Not
Okay,
pincher.
my bowling story. I'm looking at the clock here. In 1985, when the Terps were ranked #1, they came in the season. They lost to Penn State in that famous game, and they end up going to the Cherry Bowl and they play Syracuse. I wanted to go to the Cherry Bowl. I was driving to Detroit, which even Bruce tells me how many years later. It's 31 years later, fly. But I wanted to drive. My mother talked me out of it back in '85. So for me, this is a revenge game. I didn't get to go to Detroit in the Pontiac Silverdome in 1985.
You were how old in '85?
In 1985, was I 19 years old? Something like 19, 20 years old. And I was in love with Maryland then. And the reason I'm still going, I'm still in love. I know they've been horrible. I know it's not the greatest team in the world. But this is actually my passion is for this football team. I love the basketball team.
The French have a name for a person who goes from the D.C. area to Detroit for a Christmas ball
well,
game.
if-
It's Meshuggah.
No, but if it's French, it's Detroit.
Je ne comprends pas. Tu es Meshuggah.
Wayne,
Yes.
I'm going to tell you something funny.
Yeah.
Last night I said to myself, you know what? It's not too late to go.
Oh, I would love to have you
It's
along.
not too late to go.
We driving again? We're
No,
back to
I am
driving
not
now.
driving. I am not driving. There's no way. I said it's not too late to go. And it is a little bit too late because the airfares went high. They weren't that bad.
Well,
But they're offering free hot dogs, Bruce, on the plane. You don't care about the fare when you get the free dog.
the free dog, yeah. So that would make him the overdog. Somebody else who decided a little late he's going ahead and going to join me in Detroit is Todd Carton, which we call non-revenue Todd
He's
Carton.
driving up
He's flying midday tomorrow. So he's flying up to Detroit.
midday tomorrow. Oh, the game's Monday, right?
Yeah.
Good for Todd.
It's
How
a
about
great day to fly. Nobody's on the. I flew once on Christmas Day. It's the best day to. Nobody flies.
Right.
The airport's empty. It's a great day to drive.
for all you non-Rev fans out there? Todd Carton will be on the show Wednesday night to preview the Maryland-UConn game, which I'm a little bit excited for, Wayne. I really am. I think that this could be Brenda's year.
Well, if you're going, I guess I'll get myself out there. The last Maryland women's game, I saw them play Minnesota at the end of last year. It's not the greatest sport in the world to me, I got to be honest, but one of these times we're going to beat UConn. One of these times, we got to beat them once.
We're gonna break that
no-
We
glass
beat
ceiling.
Florida State in football once
What?
after years
Right.
and years.
I was thinking, I saw you were going to talk, I thought you were going to say, tell me why. I have no reason to
Well,
tell you why we're finally
we-
going to beat them.
Look, UConn's a great team. Year in and year out, they're the best. But Maryland's got 5 McDonald's All-Americans. They have Brianna Jones and Kimbrough, what's her name?
Shatori Walker.
Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, who's fantastic. They have the talent. They just have to play their best game and hope that Connecticut's a little bit off.
They never seem to be off, but
We lost
no.
by 10 last year, and that's pretty
I agree.
good.
Do you guys love Gino Auriemma? I know Todd loves this guy, and I sort of have this sort of Duke feeling towards UConn basketball.
well, I tell you why I like Gino Auriemma a little bit. All right, he plays everybody. He goes everywhere. He hides from no one. He'll play at the. He'll look at the top 5 teams the next year and play everyone on the road. He doesn't care about home and home, although he is doing home and home with Maryland. But Brenda called him up for a 3-game series, and he took him 2 seconds to say yes. And, you know, of course, that always endangers his record. But what else does the guy have to win, Freddie? He's won everything. It's almost absurd.
Now he's won everything. He won to Connecticut when they had nothing. They didn't have a practice facility. They didn't have a real arena. They had basically nothing. He built an entire women's program up to an elite program. It's amazing. And I wonder how many times he's been approached by schools to go coach the men's team.
That's a hell of a question. It really is, and I can't imagine why he's never thought about it, except
Well,
that-
maybe because he's probably making well over $1 million, and he's got the run of the place, and there's no sense of him going out somewhere. He's got plenty of money. and he's very happy where he's at, and he's probably very content, and that's why.
Well, he is somewhat successful, but
Just
somewhat successful.
He's the John Wood
That's like
of women's
saying,
basketball. Look, so
wait a minute. He was a big contention at UConn for years because he was making as much money as Calhoun, and they didn't get along. And I do believe he's paid, probably not on the level of a Coach K, but he's played on a level of a man's coach, probably maybe Mason can check that. But
So look, they're rolling on a front line. They have a 6'5" center. They have 6'2", 6'3" forwards. This isn't not the size of a men's team, but this is a big team. And if you look back over the past couple of years, when UConn has beaten Maryland, they'd say too big, too heavy, and too good. They could play a power basketball game, and they still shoot the lights out.
Brianna Stewart, it's just, there was no match for her.
They have great athleticism as well as great skills, and that's, I think, the difference is their athleticism over most teams. Because, I mean, Maryland's, the players are very, very skilled, and then every year they get more and more athletic that Brenda brings in, but...
Todd Carton's probably banging the phone right now. I gotta call.
With his hat, with the hat.
Right. With the hat, right. So we got the bowl. Wayne, I do believe you think we're going to win, or you don't?
I think we're going to win, but I usually think we're going to win.
Yeah, I don't know enough to make that prediction. How much does he make?
He has an increasing salary over time. Right now it is $1.95 million, and at the end of his deal it is $2.4 million.
All right, well that's what Turgeon makes. So he makes on the level of a man's,
A big time,
The big
Power
time,
5
yeah.
basketball.
So I'm not sure why he would leave, to tell you the truth. But
I wonder how they. I don't think they make any money.
They draw a lot of
but
it.
they draw.
They
draw.
bring in
well,
They
revenue.
might be a
Brenda
rep.
makes
They
big
bring in
money.
revenue.
They make big money, but I'm saying UConn might be the only women's team that actually draws enough people to pay the coach.
Yeah.
Maybe. I
Maryland
would
doesn't.
hesitate draws anymore in schools like that, but remember, they're expecting 15,000 for the UConn game, which is pretty darn good for any game, particularly a women's game.
No doubt, and it will be a good event for Maryland national TV, I assume, and I look forward to it. As I look forward to the Quick Lane Bowl, I do believe Maryland's going to win, although it's just a guess, and I think it'd be a big win for Maryland. They'll finish 7-6 instead of 6-7. It's got a little credence to it, not tremendously much, but
A lot of it's about the recruiting, and as anybody follows Twitter knows, Joshua Kando, who was the fellow
went to Florida State. Thank the Lord.
Thank Lord. Tommy Polly gets his recruit. Tommy Polly is his position coach at IMG. He played for Florida State, was a big deal, so he swings Kando back to Florida State.
Just didn't want him going to Penn State, that's
Yeah.
all. I know you were like freaking over that, but
Yeah.
he's going to, by the way, talk about great bowl games. I think that arguably Penn State USC is a great game, Freddy, even though it's meaningless, like you say.
It's a good matchup. USC's playing really, really well, and Penn State certainly had a really good second half of the year and improved their status and helped. I guess the pressure on Franklin now is lifted.
Oh, that's gone. That's
I mean,
gone.
that's absurd to begin with, but
Just
because Franklin can coach.
Just throw out the game time, December 29th, UConn at Maryland, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, just for you. We play.
We play 5 o'clock on Tuesday and 6 o'clock on
5
Thursday.
o'clock Tuesday
Yes.
against Illinois. I think Illinois is 10-3, so
We'll get into that after the break, but holy cow, 6 o'clock. Are you kidding me? All right, with that, we'll head out to our first break. Before we do, Bagby's Pizza Company on Foundry Road. The third Bagby's has just opened up in the new Foundry Row in Owings Mills. Signature super Bagby's Pizza, salads, sandwiches, pastas, and yes, even submarines. Wayne, did I forget what?
The meatballs that we love. Give me my meatballs.
Spicy meatballs at the Bagby's at the Foundry on Owings Mills and Rice's down the road. It's a good stuff.
All right,
Bruce's favorite fast lunch. You get the meatballs, you get the salad, you get out of there. Boom.
Bagby's Foundry Row is similar to the original Bagby's in Harbor East. Also featured next door is a Bagby group-operated Foundry Row Wine and Spirits. 2 more winners for the Bagby's chain. Call 410-356-7226. This is Bruce Posner. You are listening to Coons Ford Turp Talk Special Saturday morning edition. We'll be back next Wednesday night at our usual time. Place in Baltimore to buy your new or used car from than Coons Ford on Security Boulevard, across from Security Mall. Over the years, I have purchased many cars and trucks for GM Dennis Colatzos, receiving the best price, service, and comfort in dealing with a top-notch executive. Coons Ford TerpTalk listeners can view their inventory at CoonsFordBaltimore.com. Coons Ford carries a huge inventory of Motor Trend's Car of the Year, the Fusion, Hybrid Escapes, the 35-mile-per-gallon Focus, Mustangs, Expeditions, and of course the F-Series trucks. Coons Ford simply likes to make a little bit of money many times. What a great place to buy your new Ford. That's Coons Ford of Baltimore, 6970 Security Boulevard across from Security Square Mall. Take exit 17 off of 695. Remember, when you're talking cars, you're talking Coons.
Call 410-298-3800.
Kelly Exchange is your one-stop shop for individual and family health insurance coverage. On kellyexchange.com, you can learn about healthcare reform, find out if you qualify for a subsidy, get quotes, compare insurance plans, and purchase coverage. With over 36 years of experience in the insurance industry, kellyexchange.com is the only website you need to help you navigate the complexities and confusion of healthcare reform and purchase quality insurance for you and your family. Visit kellyexchange.com today.
No one likes lawyers until they need one. But if you've dealt with an insurance company, you know that you're not in good hands, they're not good neighbors, and they're not on your side. I'm Mike Grossfeld. At Waldman Grossfeld Apple & Bear, we've been protecting the rights of people for over 40 years. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, hurt on the job, or have suffered at the hands of a negligent doctor, call me, Mike Grossfeld, at 888-8-LEGAL-6. That's 888-8-LEGAL-6. We'll fight for you.
Glen Burnie Transmission celebrates its 55th year in serving the Baltimore, Maryland area with stellar transmission work. My good friend Mark Schwartzman provides factory transmissions remanufactured for sometimes hundreds less than the dealer. Call or email Glen Burnie Transmissions for a free and accurate price quote at gbt-online.com. 1 year same as cash financing available. Free area towing. Glen Burnie Transmissions can also supply low mileage used transmissions with a warranty to fit your budget. Don't forget, we work on all imported autos as well. Call 410-766-8500 when you need transmission work. That's 410-766-8500. That's Glen Burnie Transmissions, 7166 Glen Burnie Highway. Isn't it time for your family to have the services of a financial planner? Call Rob Weissman, a certified financial planner. Rob has provided financial planning, investments, and insurance products to the Baltimore community for over 27 years. Rob will provide a free consultation, review your financial positions, and make recommendations. He will monitor your financial plan on an ongoing basis. Call Rob Weissman, 410-653-6260. Rob Weissman is a registered representative of Salmon Securities Company, member FINRA SIPC. Baltimore, listen up. If you want crabs, you have to head to the Costas Inn on North Point Boulevard. There is no comparison in all of Maryland for the greatest crabs and crab cakes ever. Costas also serves unbelievable steamed shrimp, Greek salads, and steaks for lunch and dinner. Nick, Pete, and Costas Triantopoulos run the perfect restaurant to go with family and friends. Give Costas Inn a call at 410-477-1975 and tell them that TerpTalk guy sent you. Bruce Posner here with a message brought to you by Chesapeake Urology. Guys, if you broke your right arm, would you just say, heck, I'll live with it, and make do with the left? Of course not. So why is it so many men with erectile dysfunction throw up their hands, assume it's just a part of getting older, and choose to live with it? The experts at Chesapeake Urology have treatments that can help virtually all men resume a normal sex life. Whether you're 48, 64, or 84, their doctors specialize in ED, and most treatments are covered by insurance. Even if you've tried pills without success, the specialists at Chesapeake Urology can show you better treatments. Don't live with something you don't have to. Call Chesapeake Urology at 877-422-8237. That's 877-422-8237.
Welcome back to Coons Ford Terp Talk. Call 410-481-1300 now. Once again, here's Bruce Posner.
At One Olympic Place in Towson, Cunningham's Cafe and Bakery offers handcrafted breakfast, lunch, and coffee in a casual setting. featuring house-baked breads and pastries, roasted coffees, and locally sourced eggs, produce from Cunningham's Farms. The cafe and bakery is a perfect spot for a quick meal or snack. Parking is free across the street. My favorites are the farm breakfast, grilled cheese, and chocolate croissant. Open 7 days a week. Call Cunningham's Bakery and Cafe 410-339-7750. Freddie, I was expecting some French from you when I said croissant.
Ah, très bien. Croissant, c'est très magnifique. Merci beaucoup. French fries, French toast.
All right, Terps basketball 13-1. 12-1?
You caught me on that. I'm going to go 12-1.
12-1.
Do I hear 13-1? 31 once, twice sold.
12-1.
But now all the playtime is over. The real games start. This is when it really, really matters. Maryland's done a good job in the non-conference season, although Georgetown has come back. Georgetown is revived.
Yeah, but that's your signature win. That's not a great.
That's why they're not ranked. That's why they're not ranked in the top 25 right now. No signature wins against any really, highly respected teams at the moment.
If you haven't seen it, Bruce and I got the chance to talk to Ernie Graham and Jonathan Graham after the game at the Civic Center, and you were talking to Ernie about why isn't this team ranked? I think everybody's on the same page. You just don't have the quality of opponents. Is Illinois, even though I know it's a conference game and that changes everything, Illinois a worthy opponent? Freddie, what do you think?
Yes.
I saw them play a little bit. They're 10-3. They have some decent size. They have 6'10" and 6'11" big men. May force Maryland to use two big men on the floor at the same time. It's a good, they're a program that's trying to get back to where they were several years ago, and they're not a bad team. Maryland, the problem with Maryland is they don't play 40 minutes. And that's one of the reasons, even though they have an excellent record, a lot of people are shying away from voting for them because they play 20 minutes out of every 40 minutes. And that has to change if they want to beat the better teams.
The last 20 minutes on Tuesday, we all have to admit, it was a squad that we hoped Maryland would be.
And the first 20 minutes were nauseating. 13 turnovers, and they were down by a point to a team that's gotten beat by 40 points by several teams.
Hey, they were down 37, 36, and then boom, they got up to 88 points. It happens in a hurry. They get contributions from everybody, even Bruce's dancing man, Jared Nickens, knocks in 2 threes.
I think he had 3 threes, didn't he?
I thought he had 2. Well,
two's more than he's had in the last 8 games.
2.
So
he had 2, but
Herder had 2.
That was the difference. Kevin Herder played like the advertised kid that he could play. He comes out of the locker room, he gets 2 baskets in 8 seconds, he hits 2 threes, he rebounds, he plays defense, he
makes nice pay. He has great court sense. He lets the game come to him. A lot of people say, well, how come he doesn't shoot? He doesn't force shots.
No, he's been great rebounding as well. Who has been your biggest surprise positive player this year for Maryland?
No doubt for me, it's Checo, because he looks like he's got pro potential from looking like somebody who just happened to be 7 feet tall for 2 years. He can run, he can jump. I know he dunks a lot. He's even made a few shots that weren't dunks or layups. He's got a huge upside.
Freddie, how about you?
For me, it's Bender. I mean, Checo showed me a lot his freshman year. Last year was like a wasted year, but his freshman year he showed me quite a bit. So it didn't surprise me that he stepped up this year. But last year, when Bender played, he was very aggressive rebounding, but really did nothing else. But this year, he's shown really, really outstanding offensive skills. He has nice touch around the hoop, good footwork, and he can pass the ball. And he plays hard, and he's just getting better. He's more comfortable also. Like second year in the country, the learning the language, the culture, and being in college here, he's made big strides this year.
My biggest surprise, Wayne, Freddy, Mason, is Jalen Brantley. I think that this was a guy who you didn't expect anything from, and he is now an integral part of the rotation. And in my opinion, the last 2 home games, especially against Oklahoma State, he was the guy responsible for the win. He was the guy who stemmed the tide, stole the ball, brought some real energy to the squad, and nobody was on this kid's case more than me. But he blossomed. Turgeon's ecstatic about it because he says how hard he works in practice, and it's finally translating. He's got a little confidence. He's getting minutes. But once again, this team rides high and low on Melo. It's all Melo. I mean, Melo came off the bench came out in the second half, and he was fantastic. And that's why they won that game the other night.
Look at his game, and for most of the game, he's quietly fantastic. near the end of the game, he becomes surreal. That guy can close out a game as well as anybody I've seen.
He sees like the clock says 3-4 minutes, and all of a sudden it's like it's time to go from Clark Kent to Superman. He relishes the opportunity when the game is close. Give me the ball, and he's got that smile on his face because he knows, hey, I'm making the hooper. I'm going to the line.
Yeah, it's almost automatic now. Will he stop getting the calls when he gets into the Big Ten? I don't know. That's what happened last year.
With this year, though, the advantage is, and the way he can pass the ball, in his court sense, if they start getting real rough with him and they don't give him calls, he can start dishing the ball to guys like Herter and Cowan and Justin Jackson, and these guys can make the shots.
Justin Jackson is an under-the-radar guy again. He's had some big moments, but when you talk about the Terps, right now he might be the fourth or fifth guy that comes up.
Now, 47% from the three-point line. Again, with none of these guys force issues. They don't look to force the ball.
Very unselfish squad.
Very great court sense. Very unselfish. Very skilled. But they let the game come to them. They don't go with like rushing shots and just because I haven't gotten a shot off in the last couple of minutes, I need to shoot or I need points. They're very, very mature for their age.
So it's Illinois on Tuesday at 5 o'clock. The Bruce Posner Beltway Special. They have the Cornhuskers, which is now at 8 o'clock on the 1st, 7 or 8 o'clock.
Is that official?
I think so. I heard a time come out. I'm looking at a schedule. It still says to be announced. But I think it's at 7 or 8 o'clock.
8?
Then they're at Michigan. And then Indiana comes in on January 10th. And in 2-week look ahead. And then they're back at Illinois. You got Michigan and Indiana. Wow, this is going to be, that Indiana home game is going to be huge. That is a game of the night. It's one of the games of the year. That's January 10th at 9 o'clock. You say it gets different. What do you think happens to this Maryland squad, Bruce, as it gets different? They get
Tell
tougher?
you what, I don't know. I'm going to sit here and tell you this squad's been an enigma to me. They're very, very, very tough to beat at home. That's a fact. So they pull miracles out of their hat at home. To beat them, you got to squash them at home. They're not going to lose a close game at home for the most part. And Indiana's tough, but I'm not even thinking about that. I'm worried about Illinois right now. And you know who's still in Illinois?
Jalen Tate.
That's exactly right. Jalen Tate, a guy who Maryland thought they had. It's been so long.
Yes, they thought they had, or that was their number one priority. Then it wasn't, and then he went elsewhere.
Right. He was from Chicago, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. So he went to where a kid from Chicago would normally go.
I think this Terp team, as the season goes on, will get better and better, and I think they will rise up to the occasion when they play the better competition, particularly with these freshmen.
So on the Ernie interview from Tuesday, I said, where's the rebounding going to come from? Because I'm looking at these teams that put some serious size out there. Now, this is the kind of team that Turgeon wanted. This team can move. It can spread out. It's better when it's running than when it's not. But at certain times, you got 3 guys out there that are 6'1". So how are you going to go in and rebound and take a 60-point game in the Big Ten when you're small?
Yeah, but you're not small if you got Checo and Bender in there for a while.
Well, that's different from what Wayne just said about using smaller guys.
Yeah, well, he's using smaller guys because the big guys haven't been getting the rebounds.
And that's a problem. You got 6'10" guys that don't rebound, and your best team is a bunch. This is going to be a great stylistic battle. And it's what makes college basketball interesting because these teams don't look alike. This is a Maryland team that to me looks like an ACC team. This should run sleek and fast, and seeing it score 88 points without a lot of effort because it flows well is
not
great.
When you have 20 turnovers. You're not going to do it with 20 turnovers, and you're not going to win. You're not going to have a great Big Ten season if that continues. No. I don't know what he's going to do. I'll be honest with you.
There's going to be a 4-man, big man rotation primarily as soon as Dodd gets back with Dodd, Checo, Bender, and Gill. And they'll have to rotate 2 guys in and 2 guys out. You need the extra fouls from Gill. Gill is very uncomfortable playing down low, but he's 6'8".
Yep, and he's made a couple 3-pointers. This might be the spot where if you have to play 2 guys down low and Justin Jackson small forward, that you see Kevin Herter featured as a 2-guard, and I think that is a dynamic that can bump Maryland into the top 20 because putting him out of the corner, putting him up high with the ball, makes his skill set shine like you haven't seen
very much
before.
so. Plus, he's great with the ball as far as passing. I mean, he can looking over players. I mean, he can play point guard, he can play shooting guard, he can play small forward. So, but they're going to have to start using Bender and Checo and Bender and Dodd. The combination of those big men, 2 on the floor, far more when conference play starts now.
All right, we're going to head out to our second break here, and before we do, Cunningham's of the Bagby's chain has been declared one of the best restaurants in town. Located at One Olympic Place in Towson, Cunningham has free valet parking and open every night. The decor and atmosphere at Cunningham's make you feel that you are part of a happening event. Using a wood fire, grill, and oven, Cunningham's provides its guests with dishes created from the freshest seasonal and local ingredients possible. Call 410-339-7730 for a reservation. This is Bruce Posner. We'll be back in a few minutes on Coons Ford Turp Talk. Remember, Science of Kirk presents In the Nest tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I just discovered a great little neighborhood gourmet pizza and Italian-type restaurant in the Harbor area. Bagby Pizza on 1006 Fleet Street is just a great, fun place to have lunch or dinner 7 days a week. Bagby's features gourmet pizza, pastas, and salads at more than reasonable prices. Service is quick, there's plenty of seating, happy hour specials Monday through Friday, 4 to 7 p.m. But most important, the food is superb. Bagby Pizza, 410-605-0444. Cunningham's, part of the Bagby chain, the newest restaurant in town at One Olympic Place in Towson. Free valet parking, open every night. The food there is fantastic. I've been there. Decor, the whole atmosphere at Cunningham's is super. I highly, highly recommend it. But of course, when it's part of the Bagby chain and the Smith family, you know it's going to be a success. 410-339-7730. That's Cunningham's at One Olympic Place in Towson. New Bagby's Pizza and Woodhome Festival. It's pizzas and salads the way you want it. Get the big cheesy for $5.99 or make your own for a little more. 4 sauces, many, many toppings. Super salads, meatball specials. What a great, affordable pizzeria. Call the New Bagby's Pizza at 443-379-0566. That's the New Bagby's Pizza at 443-379-0566. It's my pleasure to welcome the Supreme Neighborhood Market Gourmet again to the Terp Talk family. Now under the new ownership of Andy Huffman, Gourmet Again on 3717 Old Court Road continues its tradition of being a specialty food market with all meals, soups, and sandwiches being homemade. My family and all of Northwest Baltimore knows that Gourmet Again is the best market around. Let Gourmet Again cater any party or special occasion that you are having. I absolutely love Gourmet Again. Call 410-484-9393. Gourmet Again is open 7 days a week. Visit them on the web at gourmetagain.com. The phone number, once again, 410-484-9393. That's Gourmet Again. At Baltimore Neurosurgery and Spine Center, the professionals provide the highest quality care to the patients. My friends over at Baltimore Neurosurgery and Spine Center are fellowship-trained, board-certified neurosurgeons and interventional pain specialists that specialize in treating all spinal and intracranial disorders with more than 20 years of combined experience. The practice is founded by Dr. Ira Goranczyk and his partner is Jim Conway. These two doctors are perennial Baltimore's top doctors. Not only do they perform complex inpatient procedures, but they also specialize in minimally invasive outpatient surgeries. If you're having problems with your neck or back, call my good friends Dr. Ira Goranczyk and Dr. James Conway at Baltimore Neurosurgery and Spine Center, 410-664-3680. Once again, that's Baltimore's best neurosurgeons at 410-664-3680. Superior Tours continues to serve the Baltimore area with superior price trips to New York, Atlantic City, or wherever your group wants to go. The Comans brothers have only state-of-the-art motor coaches for your riding pleasure. Superior provides same-day service to New York for only $68 round trip or $48 for one-way trips. Atlantic City trips are $38 same-day round trips with great hotel rebates. Call 410-602-1704 and make a reservation with Superior Tours.
Check out Game, a 10,000 square foot sports bar and game room on Water Street featuring music, food, old school games, and more. Get your first beer free following every Baltimore home football game at Game.
This is Coons Ford Terp Talk. Call 410-481-1300 now. Once again, here's Bruce Posner.
All right, back here on segment number 3. And guys, Maryland was picked preseason number 3 in lacrosse. All right, number 1, Denver, number 2, North Carolina, and number 3, Maryland. I'm excited.
Denver has a heck of a program. Yeah, you put out a schedule there.
I've never seen anything like it.
He plays. You said Gino Arnama plays everybody. The other guy that plays everybody is
John Tillman,
yeah,
without question. All right, on the phone right now is my good buddy from Coons Ford, Dennis Kalatzis. Dennis, welcome in.
Bruce, thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure. Dennis, it's D-Day tomorrow. All right, the Ravens are now a 6-point underdog.
Give me one of your ears.
What is going to happen tomorrow? Does that scare you?
Not at all, Bruce. Unless the Steelers can find a way to get Le'Veon Bell on track, they're in trouble, and they know it. The last time these two teams played, the Ravens hit him early and often in the backfield. There was nowhere for him to run. If they can't get him on track, it's going to be a very long day for the Steelers.
Dennis, who gets the assignment on Antonio Brown without Jimmy Smith? Because we know Jimmy Smith is out for the game.
No question about it, Bruce. That goes to Tavon Young, the rookie out of Temple. Best-rated cornerback by Pro Football Focus this year, in this year's draft by 5'9", lightning fast, just a quick twitch athlete, has really acquitted himself well. They will lock him up for Antonio, and if Pittsburgh can't run the ball, they're not going to be able to throw his direction without the danger of the ball getting picked off.
Is Weddle? Do you think Weddle's a permanent assignment to help out Tavon?
I think Weddle's going to be assigned primarily to Le'Veon Bell. I think he's going to spy Le'Veon. He's going to play him in the box and go everywhere he goes. Weddle has been a big addition. Probably had his best year ever so far as a professional football player. He said so himself the other day. What a great find he's been on that back end.
Dennis, Uncle Freddy here. Give me one key player on offense, one key player on defense, and tell me why these players can make a difference for the Ravens to win tomorrow.
Key player on defense, C.J. Mosley, Pro Bowl type of a year, but very dangerous in pass coverage, has really improved his skill set this year, has multiple picks. I think he does a good job back there leading the front seven. And then on offense, Ken Dixon got on track against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The New England Patriots, not so much against the Eagles, but I think Ken Dixon can have a breakout day. The Steelers' defensive line decimated. Stefan Tuitt may not play, and if he plays, he's got a bum knee, so they'll be able to run on them as long as Marty Morningwig commits to the run. They've got to run the ball 30 times in order for them to win the game.
They seem to be running less now with Morningweg than they did with Tressman, which makes no sense whatsoever.
They just don't like to run the ball, Uncle Freddy. That for whatever reason, maybe Joe Flacco wants to sling the ball, as he said, all over the place. But we saw situational football last week went out the window, first down in the red zone, nursing a 10-point lead, and they throw a pick in the end zone. That cannot happen again. I'm sure they had multiple meetings at the castle. I'm sure and certain that John Harbaugh will be more involved in the offensive game plan. They have to impose their will on the Steelers. This is a big boy game. The toughest team will win. And my feeling is the Ravens are tougher than the Steelers this year.
I tell you what, Dennis, is it time for our $22 million quarterback to play like one this week?
You know what? If we get Miami Joe Flacco versus Philadelphia Joe Flacco or New England Joe Flacco, we'll be better off. He's got to step up. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's got to step up and lead this team. I don't know what they saw against Miami that they didn't see against the Eagles or the Patriots. They've got to come up with a good game plan. They've got to execute. But you're right. He's got to start living up his contract, because for the last couple of years, he certainly hasn't done so. I
think he's something like maybe 500, maybe a game over, a game under since he signed his new contract for 4 years now. The team itself is basically a 500 team the last 3-4 years.
He's been a mediocre quarterback with an elite-sized contract. He hasn't lived up to it. That's the frustration of the receivers. There's Steve Smith and Mike Wallace and everybody else. These guys are getting open. Joe Flacco's not finding them because he's not going through his progression.
Why won't they throw the ball downfield? I mean, here's a guy with one of the strongest arms in the league, and they're playing this little West Coast dink and dunk offense, and you have guys like Wallace who can go deep, Smith can go deep, Pyramid can go deep, even Pitted down the middle is pretty good. Why aren't they throwing the ball downfield more often?
It's because they're not committing to the run. They're not making the secondary come close to the line of scrimmage, Freddy. That's Joe's game. When they run the ball, those safeties and cornerbacks come up. Joe play action and throws the ball deep better than anybody in the league. That That's what Gary Kubiak did with him. And Gary Kubiak would trade for Joe Flacco in the New York Minute because under the right system, under the right offense, Joe Flacco can thrive.
And that system, when you bring in a West Coast guy as your OC and they run a West Coast system still, it's not a surprise. I mean, that's how they matriculate the ball down the field. It's what he did in Philadelphia. It's what he's done before for Marty.
A good coach puts players in positions where they're can be most successful at.
What?
A good coach.
Ah, there you go.
Donovan McNabb was a dink and dunk quarterback. Joe Flacco has never been a dink and dunk quarterback. He's never been a fantasy football quarterback. He's got a big arm. He likes to get his plays in chunks. As Uncle Freddy said, you got to throw the ball deep, but you got to set it up first.
Hey, Dennis, I was by the place the other day, and I have to tell you something. You could not move on the lot. You have so many cars. Strongest inventory you ever had?
Strongest inventory, Bruce, bar none. We just had a customer fly in from New England, of all places, to buy an F-350 pickup truck, save himself $7,000, which is why he made the trip. After the plane ride and the hotel, he still came out way, way ahead. It happens every single day at Coons Baltimore Ford.
Did you have to accept trash talk about the Patriots from him?
I bet, he like me, though, couldn't understand why the Ravens wouldn't run the ball when they were playing two safeties high. He and I went back and forth on that, but he and I can see it, and I don't understand, as Freddie said, and Wayne, on our coaching staff, why they can't see the stuff that we can see.
What is your hours for this weekend and next weekend, though?
We are open until 6 o'clock today, 6 p.m. today. Monday, sales is open 8 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. We're giving the service body shop part the day off. And then the rest is business as usual, Bruce. Last week of the year, we're making numbers. We're having a record year. 8 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night for the rest of the week.
Hey, I see that you have if you don't get what you wanted for the holidays, you've got a F-150 4x4 Super Cab. You can lease it for $199 a month for 3 years. That's an amazing deal.
It is an amazing deal, Wayne. And these deals are be around forever. The rates are going up. The interest rates are going up. So this is not forever. This is a great window the next 30 days for someone to jump through and get themselves a deal of a lifetime.
End of the month's a good time to go buy a car, isn't it?
Absolutely. This is it.
You got to make those sales numbers. So get in there. The last couple of days, you can get a great deal at Coons.
Hey, we all know about Coons. There's no place better to buy a car than Coons Ford of Baltimore. Dennis, thanks a lot for coming on. Have a great sales day today.
You what, gentlemen? Go Ravens, go Terps.
Merry Christmas, Dennis.
Merry Christmas.
All righty. That was Dennis Kalatzis. So let's get down to the Illinois game and maybe a brief look, a brief prediction on how Maryland will do in the Big Ten, which is not having a stellar year. They are not so far have a stellar non-conference season. You got Michigan State with 5 losses. Yeah, right across the board, you don't see any real dominance. But let's start off with Tuesday night, 5 o'clock, Wayne, against Illinois. How do you see this game going with all their bigs?
Well, this is the first time in a while Illinois has been considered good. And I think they are going to try and take advantage of pound the ball inside and make Maryland play defense in a way they haven't played yet this year. And it's going to be up to the defense to offense transition to fuel Maryland. If you can get them to run the floor, if you get Illinois to have to chase the play, I think you're going to see Maryland get over that 60-point mark early and have a solid win. If Illinois can hold on to the ball and pound at the paint, you're going to see a lot of guys with 4 and 5 fouls for the Terps. It's probably not going to go as well. But, of course, Mello will pull that out in the end, 61-59 Terps.
Maryland has had a problem this year with good players inside. No matter what team they've played against, they've had a difficulty. And I think we're going to start seeing more of 2 big men on the floor at the same time, because they don't box out well. They're not a great rebounding team. McCown gets you a few rebounds, Herter gets you a few rebounds, but nobody there is really banging the boards like a Buck Williams or even like a Boom Osby. So they're going to have to use more height and more size up front for the Big Ten. I look for Maryland to beat for the home court win Tuesday. As a matter of fact, I will now give you from the tip off. Each play, the first tip-off we get, we're going to run the ball. No, we're a good team this year. And Maryland's going to be one of the top 3 teams in the Big Ten when the season's over.
I feel that Maryland will win this game somewhat easily. I don't see an unbelievably great Big Ten season. Maybe 11-7, maybe 10. I'm sorry. Yeah,
that's right.
11-7 is 18 games. Maybe 12-6. I just don't see them tearing it up on the road as they normally do. I see them protecting their house, right? And they might they're going to lose 1 or 2 games at home. And if they can go 500 on the road, that would be fantastic. They do have the edge of the schedule this year, though. There's no doubt. Last year they did not. This year they do. They get Michigan State at home without a comeback game. Purdue, I think they get at home without a comeback game. And those are 2 big home and home games they don't have.
When you're looking at the league as a whole, you have Indiana ranked, you have Wisconsin ranked, and you got Purdue in there. And for right now,
Michigan State's, they're not ranked, but they're going to be there.
They always catch up there.
Right.
So you got your big 4. Ohio State seems down. I don't know what's going on with Iowa. They graduated a lot of players. They still have Peter Jacques, who's a pretty good guy. But Maryland has a chance. Minnesota has apparently stepped up big. So it's a we'll see. But this isn't a team for Maryland who's supposed to win the national championship or supposed to win the Big Ten. So I'll go with your 11 conference wins. 11, 12 wins would be a good season.
Get us a bye. Get us a bye in D.C.
Right.
And who knows what could happen at Verizon Center. Certainly will be a slight edge for Maryland there. But the Big Ten travels. I mean, don't think that the fans are not going to come to D.C. because they will.
So the Terrapin Club sent out a notice about the Big Ten tournament and said outside of the top 100 donors, they don't have any other tickets. That was their allotment. And you're going to get that when you have 14 teams in the league.
Top 100, that's it?
That's it. Other than that, unless somebody turns them down, there's no other tickets left.
Wow.
Now, you can buy tickets. You can go out on StubHub. You can buy tickets. I think the entire tournament package, which is Thursday through Sunday, is about $300 if you want to sit on the roof of Verizon.
That's really not bad, but it's actually Wednesday it starts with the play-in games. And then you have the doubleheader 5 through 12 on Thursday.
Yeah.
And then the great quadruple header on Friday 1 through 8. Right. Which we call the best day of basketball there is.
That's a great day. Hey, last week or so, we talked about Lane Kiffin and FAU. Freddie, you're a Boca guy. What happened down there?
I'm shocked that FAU signed Lane Kiffin. Maybe, look, the way I look at it, the market wasn't great for Lane Kiffin, but who knows? You think that FAU is the new Boise State.
Well, that's what Mason said. I think that FAU is going to be one of those teams that has the greatest chance, a sleeping giant type of thing, because of where they are and all the local talent there. That FAU could really be something. As Bruce would say, time will tell. Who knows?
Let me ask you a question. FAU plays where?
On
they play
Fridays.
Texas. They play Texas, El Paso.
No, I don't mean that. I'm talking
FIU.
about where is FAU?
It's in Boca Raton. It's off of Glades Road.
Right up against 95. They have a 30,000-seat sort of new stadium. The Florida Launch, you've probably seen them play lacrosse there.
Okay.
It's a nice place. There's room to grow there.
Yeah, well, all of a sudden the 30,000-seat stadiums, it's kind of like in right now. You look at North Dakota State, that place rocks.
North Dakota State's not a Division I team, and FAU is. There's a difference.
I think that North Dakota State would beat FAU 9 out of 10 times.
I wouldn't doubt it at all. That's a solid program.
Right, not after next year.
Lane Kiffin will turn that around. He stole the Brawls kid
as an offensive coordinator. He's making inroads there.
And, of course, you have Wayne, real quick, because we got to talk about it. Give me a final summary on the Quick Lane Bowl. How do you see the game going?
I see that the 8th-ranked BC defense is giving Maryland some trouble. You're going to see Perry Hills get to the edges. I like the edge run game for Maryland, get the ball out of the middle of the field. And I'm looking at that speed for the Terps actually getting some run out there. I'm going to give Maryland 23 points, and BC's offense is horrible. I'm going 23-17 Terps over BC on Monday. Freddie?
I like the Terps. I think that, like I said earlier, they played really well against the bad, mediocre teams this year, and I expect that to continue. And hopefully Perry Hills can stay healthy for a whole game, because this is his last game, and he did yeoman's work this year and got beat up pretty good. And I think the Terps are just a better team.
Who's 2 on the depth chart this week in quarterback? Is it Caleb or is it
I'm going
Max?
with Caleb over Bortenschlager and Piggy in for special occasions.
Okay, so you'll see Caleb right away. Is that out of respect?
I think that he's got the best chance to get the ball down the field.
We're out of time, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks, everybody. If you're stuck in for 2 hours, remember, we'll be back tomorrow. Science at Kirk presents In the Nest, 9 o'clock here on CBS Sports Radio, 1300.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Festivus, and Happy New Year.